Morning, students. This is Mrs. Fernandi. I'm back for another week of word work and spelling. Make sure you have a pencil and a notebook. If you have a list of the words I sent to your teachers, great, take that out. Otherwise, you can just jot down notes as we go along and then be ready at the end for the guided spelling part. All right, let's start by looking at the PowerPoint that I made for this week. Oops, come on. It kind of continues what we started talking about last week, which was the endings that sound like ul. So that's that schwa sound and the letter L, ul. There are different ways to spell that in the English language, but the two most common ways are the consonant LE and the consonant AL. Those are the two you most need to think about. Okay, so we're going to start with the consonant LE because it is the most common one. So we have words like table. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and add that consonant to the L sound because I think it's easier to remember that way. And plus, usually it belongs to that syllable. So table, tay like a nice open, long A sound, bull, B-L-E. Okay. Bubble, same thing. We have bub, bull, right? B-L-E. Simple, we have sim, pull, P-L-E. It's nice to remember it as a three-letter thing. Example, example. Again, that's third syllable is the P-L-E. Sounds a little like I'm going to pull a wagon, but it's spelled P-L-E. People, this is an interesting word because it's actually, if you think about the pull sound, it'll make the whole word easier to spell because you hear the P, the P-E. Then you have that magic little silent O and then pull at the end. Making it a little easier to spell. And then middle. Mid is the first syllable. That means in the center. And then dull is that ending that we add on there with the D-L-E. Same with, there's a couple more. We have other ways to spell that ul sound at the end with L-E. One of them is uncle, C-L-E. Angle, G-L-E. You'll see that G-L-E often, like giggle. Settle, T-L-E. Puzzle, C-L-E. There are some consonants that we cannot add the L-E sound to, the L-E spelling to at the end of a word. And those include, we never see M-L-E, N-L-E, R-L-E, V-L-E, or W-L-E. Those are, nope, those are no-nos in the English language. So then we know right away, if we can remember M, N, R, V, W. Did I miss one? No, I don't think I did. So if you can remember, those are the 5 consonants that cannot be followed by that L-E. So then we have to think of a different way to end those, and let's look at some of those. So one is A-L. It's also pretty common, like final. Remember, no L-E after the N. Legal. Now some of them will go both ways. G will do that. It can be G-L-E or G-A-L. In legal, it's spelled G-A-L. Several. R is another one. We can't put L-E after, so we're going to make it A-L. Animal, can't do it with M, so we're going to do A-L instead. General, there's the R again. Not going to do it with R's. And mental. T we can do either way, so we have to remember which one we're going to do. So mental, T-A-L. And identical, also can do both C-L-E or C-A-L. In this case, it's C-A-L, identical. So the last 3 ways to spell ul at the end of the word, remember, I did tell you there were a lot of them, are E-L, I-L, and O-L. And they're not used as commonly, but you'll recognize the words. Level, travel, like in this picture with all those fabulous places I want to go to. Travel, label, channel. Again, no N-L-E and no V-L-E, so we know we have to switch those letters around. Fossil, we don't say fossil, but we still spell it differently with the I-L. And symbol, right? Okay. Make sure you watch that again if you kind of want to have another look at what the rules are for the ul sound at the end of a word. Okay, let's have a look at my Word doc for this week. This one, if you have this one already, pull it out. Well, you can make notes as I go along, or you can write your own notes on your paper. We're going to see the same kind of words we have. The first one is table. We have the B-L-E. Several, remember after R, we can't have LE, so we're looking for one of the alternate ways. Several. Level, we can't have it after a V, so with V, we typically just switch the E and the L, and then we have the spelling of level. Example, example, right? Animal, we can't have the LE after the M, that's why we have AL instead. Travel, you notice that we switched the L and the E here because we can't have LE after the V. Bicycle, there's that CLE. General, it's after an R, so we're going to go with a different one besides the LE. We choose AL in this case. And then single, GLE. Gull is a pretty common one. Addition, we're just looking at that TION spelling there. Stones, we have many stones. We have a plural word, and then we have an apostrophe. So we know that it's plural possessive. So the stones, the many stones, weight was too much for me, right? It was too much for me to carry. The stones weight. Around, we know from before that when we hear the ow sound in the middle of the word or in the middle of a syllable, we're going to spell it O-U instead of O-W. Libraries, in this case, we know that the I used to be a Y. Library, long E sound is spelled with a Y. We're going to change that Y to an I before we add the ES. Receive, the E is doing the magical job of allowing the V not to be the last letter in the word because we cannot end on a V in English. Also, we have our little rhyme here. I before E, except after C. I still say that to myself when I'm writing the word receive. Iron. Here are some review words. Activities. We see that activity, the Y has been changed to an I before adding the ES. Picture. Remember, pick, the K at the end of a syllable that's being followed by another syllable is going to be a C. And then chur is spelled T-U-R-E. So picture, nature, adventure. Those are all T-U-R-E words. Stories, same thing. The Y will change to an I and then the ES is added. Supplies, the Y was changed to an I and we added ES. Married, same thing. Y was changed to an I before we added ED. Conditions, T-I-O-N, and then added an S on the end. Worry, we see, oh, this, remember this, the sound? There's E-R-I-R-U-R, and then every once in a while, E-A-R or O-R, much less common, but we will see them. So worry is one of those words. Understood, the double O sound there, and room, the double O sound there, and streets. Again, we have a plural streets. Then we have the apostrophe after the S, which means we're talking about a whole bunch of streets. So we could say the street's lights went out at the same time. So on lots of different streets, all the street lights went out. So the street's lights, the lights belong to the many streets. So we've talked about that as well. Good reminders, right? Okay, take out, make sure that you are able to write on your, in your notebook now so you can do a little bit of the guided spelling part. Let's see what color we want this week. Oh, well, I'm just gonna do whatever it wants me to do. Okay, our first word today is the word table. So we have that T, long A sound, and then bull. Now, we set the table for dinner. I'm going to do the T-A and then the bull, B-L-E. The next word is several. We tend to shove the middle syllable in several, but it is 3 syllables, several. Several. So we have several, A-L at the end there, because we cannot have L-E after R. Level, some areas of Death Valley are below sea level. So we know that after V, we can't have LE. So we're going to do EL instead. Also, the V is part of the first syllable, level. So we know that's just the EL sound right there. Okay, example is our next word. This painting is an example of the artist's early work. Example. pull. If you pull that out into 3 different syllables, it is super easy to spell. We have the X, and then the am, and then the pull, which of course doesn't mean pull your wagon. It's a pull, P-L-E, ending to a 3-syllable word. And the next word is animal. The koala is an animal native to Australia. Animal. And remember, after the L, after the M, no L-E. So A-L instead. The next word is travel. My aunt loves to travel to South America. So here, travel. After a V, can we have the L-E? No, we cannot. So we're going to do trav, which is our first syllable, and then O is our second syllable, E-L instead of L-E. Bicycle. She rode her bicycle to her friend's house. Bicycle. Now, bi we can spell no problem. C is C-Y. Just have to know that, right? And then col, C-L-E. We don't see K-L-E very often, but we do have it in English. And then general. In general, the bus is here by 8:30. So if you say general to yourself, really pull it out. General, right? So gen-er. Oh, again, after the R, no L-E. That'll make it easier. General. Oh, okay, super. All right, those are the rules for the O. If you need to watch it again to get that really firmly in your mind, please do. Otherwise, I will see you next time. So stay safe and be well.